my god! Have you seen that shit? Holy shit! What the hell?
Hey guys, good morning. We got Jibber today. Decided to talk about the next bell skills, which is currently Vampire counts. Before getting there, I just want to say some things. You're wondering why we don't do Jibbers around like new content like the Beastman and the Lizardman, the last DLC or the new dwarf changes. This is not what we're doing here, reviewing stuff. We're here to just jibber-jabber about things that, you know, usually are not good in the game, and what we wish for them and how they could get better. Me making a jibber-jabber about Taurox would be the point. Also, these jibber-jabbers, I make them when I feel like them. It's not like a, you know, episode content. It's just, you know, out of the blue. We've been doing things, we're talking about the bell skills. We could have done one for the Beast and Bell skills or the Lizard Bell skills, but I don't feel like there's much to say there right now, so I just left it there. So we're pretty much talking about things when I feel like talking about them, and usually about things that are behind or lacking. So we did a video over 4.5 hours, I think it is, about the state of the Vampire counts. Some things have changed. What I remember, you know, it's impossible to remember all this shit. You know, I do have thousands of hours of content, but most thing that changed in recent years regarding the vampires is the recruitment system, and my you know, opinion about it. It's just does not fit the faction. The dark magic should be a resource used for the Raise Dead sites, should be used for the Dead Rise Again, and for the whole recruitment system. But we're not here to talk about this. This is a shorter version of Jibber, which is just talk about bell skills. Plus, we're gonna talk about one unit, so a little bit extra. So, Jibber. We talk about things. It's not really prepared, just on top of my mind. If I forget something, guys, you can always remind me. We've been doing this series of talking about bell skills from various factions, and we're not going to talk about all of them, but we're going to talk about some of them, you know, when I feel like it. This time is the Vampire counts. This is purely highest difficulty campaign gameplay, from strictly, you know, personal experience. I don't really give a shit what other people are doing. Don't even time to, you know, watch or hear their opinions. So just strictly personal experience on the highest difficulty. Vampire counts is one of my favorite factions in the game. Third favorite, right after the Dwarves and the Empire. And I do care a lot about these factions. So you know, we want to see them, you know, be good, not outdated and behind. So we're just gonna talk about the Vampire Count's battle skills today. We have a campaign here in progress with 1 car sense. I feel like this campaign's been going on for a month now. Oh shit, it's been going for a month. Let's just get one of the lords. So, battle skills. Well, if you've seen the previous videos, you know what the battle skills are. Basically, your battle skills are to make your army units do better. And since you're, you know, playing on legendary difficulty, very hard battle difficulty, you need the units to perform, because they are behind on the stats and they might also be behind on experience. So you need to get all the stats you can. Could be your favorite units or could be just your effective units. Just it's good to see units perform and not get, you know, not suck. You know, but vampires, you know, love to suck, you know, for better or worse. And we'll talk about the battle skills here now. So the vampire battle skills, we're just talking about the red line here. That's the battle skills. The basic battle skills, which is the first area. Every faction have 6 of them. And I'm starting to think later this is a terrible idea that every faction should have 6. But you know, due to just the amount of skills available in the game, I think like 3 or 4 would have been much better. Also help the AI more because of, you know, random pickings. But you know, it's a different story. I would like to see this definitely shrinked into, you know, more streamlined options, versions where it affects all infantry, cavalry, monsters, stuff like that. But 6, you know, I feel like it just doesn't work considering the amount of skill points in the game. So Aura of Supremacy, the usual copy pasta, character or leadership +5, encourage effect, the blue circle in which the units get buffed by leadership. The highest one in this area will apply to the units. This is +3 on the Lord, and I think they still made it that they're all the same value at the one update or the other. So you get +5 here. This is the opener. So already the first skill opener, you know, is like just Aura of Supremacy. That's it, just more leadership. The outdated Total War design. We have the Unlimited Host here, melee attack +8 for zombies, skeletons, crypt ghouls, and graveyard units. Melee defense +8 for zombies, skeletons, crypt ghouls, and graveyard units. We're gonna read them what they do. We're gonna tell how they affect the game. We're gonna tell, you know, if they could be any better and or you know, if they should you know, change in any way. So Unlimited Host grants 8 attack and 8 defense for your pretty much core infantry. It buffs all the infantry units except the can rates. So they just get 8 more attack and 8 more defense. This is like an ideal basic battle skill. All your units will have a higher chance to hit and higher chance to evade melee attacks. This is important for the skeletons and later graveyard, because these are your core units playing undead, which makes this pretty much the staple battle skill for the vampire counts. 8 attack, 8 defense, pretty straightforward. 8 defense, probably one of the best things to have on infantry, most infantry, and then paired with the 8 attack is just ideal. There's some other things that are good, you know, like resistances, physical resistance, ward save, damage like weapon strength, heck, even armor. But it doesn't get more basic than this. Your units will just have a higher chance to hit and a higher chance to evade attacks, which just makes them work better. 8 more on these units is quite a big deal. If you look at your basic unit, this does affect more units, some units more than others because of their base stats. So this is Skeleton Spearman. 14 melee attack, read that 14%, 30 defense, 8 and 8. It's a difference between if this unit is going to do any damage at all and survive 1 minute longer, depending who they face. In the early stage of the game, preferably. This is a massive, massive upgrade for a Skeleton Spearman, which is one of your core units due to the economic reasons. It makes a difference if the Skeleton Spearmen just straight die to Swordsman, or they actually give up a fight with a heal or a buff. They might actually even win. That's how much that 8 attack and defense is. On the Graveyard, it just makes them better. The Graveyard is always good, but makes them higher attack, higher defense, and they're just good. Just a good unit, carry the early game, while the graveyard grade weapons, you know, they become deadly. The 8 attack, it's all they need to butcher infantry, and with 8 defense, they live longer. These are durable units. All these units have high health. Like you can see, 9700, 9800 plus healing. These units usually have 12, 13,000 health if we have a proper army. So by increasing defense and attack, it just makes them better. And this is like the most important thing to get here. If you're one of those people who complain about difficulty, you know, ruining your melee experience, you know, you're not trying good hard enough. You're not doing good enough, and you have no idea about the game. So by applying attack bonus, defense bonus from battle skills, technologies, experience, literally get to the point or the bonuses your units receive surpass the bonuses the enemy receive. It will still look like the enemy is using exact same units as you're using, and they are less buffed but do way more, but at least you can match it, and the game allows you to match it, and that's why it's important to have battle skills, so you can match their bonuses. The enemy gets 20% more defense, 20% more attack, 20% more charge, better reload times. With battle skills, you can just match this. Not only match this, but in some factions, you even surpass their bonuses. Like, for example, playing Empire. The Empire will shit over the very hard difficult bonuses to the melee, which is only evened and matched by the free experience the AI gets. Which means before they introduce free experience to this game, you always had better melee stats than the enemy. A shocker, I know. A shocker. There's people out there just tell, you know, all these legendaries about cheese and exploits. Melee doesn't work, gotta spam range. They people have no idea what they're talking about. So by getting these buffs, this unit's not only gonna match the enemy, but they will even go beyond that. Of course, there's a difference between the factions. One faction has skeletons, one faction has Saurus, so it's hard to compare, you know, between the factions, because there's a varying quality between the factions. A tier 2 skeletons do not equal tier 2, you know, Dark Elf or the Lisbon Infantry. Because, you know, the skeletons are by themselves for magic, and they work better with magic, and the undead are made by design to get healed. Just imagine if you put all that magic you would put into a couple of devastating spells, into extra healing, supporting your units, debuffing the enemy, buffing your unit. You win, but people wanna clean, easy fights and not really work for it. You know, if my unit takes 60, 70, 80 casualties, you know, that's not good. I need to win this battle with my unit taking no casualties. Melee units take casualties by design, and it is totally normal for a melee unit to lose half their strength in a battle, even in a battle where you're just winning. So in this case, skeletons from 16 to 80, it's perfectly normal. And stuff like defense and attack is critical for these units to work, to perform. Not only gonna make them do some damage, but they're also going to evade damage better. This bonus alone here counters the very hard battle difficulty against most units in the game. If the skeletons are taking too much damage, it's usually because they're getting hit by explosions, like mortars, or they're getting hit by units that are way above their tier, like greatswords. There should be no problem to match equivalents of the Empire when supported properly. So this battle skill, like I said, this is the ideal battle skill, and this is how should be at the base for all the battle skills for the base units in the game. Just give them attack and defense. It just works. The next battle skill is Call of the Night, plus 12% speed for Felbats and Direwolves, and plus 12 charge for Felbats and Direwolves. So this battle skill is for the other low tier units, which are tier 1 Direwolves and Felbats, buffing tier 1 units that have literally no toughness, 0 armor, 30 base leadership. It's, you know, sounds like a horrible idea from the start. So this is one of the things I was talking about just before we started. The system where you have 6 battle skills, and most of the units are added to these 6 battle skills in a sense that makes sense lore-wise or gameplay-wise. And this is an outdated design, and I think they should drop this. This unit should probably be more streamlined, even heck put on stuff like this, because 3 skill points to buff Fell Bats and Direwolves are units that have a limited use on the battlefield. You know, you can always hear stories of people, you know, using their Direwolf, get 200, 300 skills, outmaneuvering every single thing on the battlefield. I mean, the Direwolves are crazy good. If you know how to apply them, they are crazy good. Does this mean they need more charge bonus and speed? These units, the best things about these units is charge bonus and speed. They're fast, and they literally apply charge on every attack because they're so fast and they move. The units are so fast on the ground that they constantly, when they're trying to attack animation, they literally apply charge bonus all the time. This is like Direwolves apply charge bonus most of the time. This makes them even faster, even deadlier. But do you need to put 3 skill points to make this unit better? No. The Fellbats and the Direwolves are units that have a limited window where they work. They can be applied right to a great effect, but due to very hard battle difficulty and they have a short window, they're actually good. You don't really want to keep these units. These are units which will help you in some battles when you have too many Spearman warriors. You want to just give a couple of fast units, like a couple of Direwolves can do wonders against several enemy archers. But there are other units which just do better. We're also easy to access, like Black Knights or Dvargeists, but just this makes a poor battle skill. There's an exception with this. This is no flavor or anything, it's just a poor battle skill. It buffs poor units, and the buffs which they get are not that good. If that speed and charge bonus was attack and defense, it will only be mind-blowing defense. Just imagine your unit gets buffed by 8 attack all the time, or gets buffed by 12 charge. You know, charge is temporary, 8 attack lasts all the time. So this is designed to assign different values of different stats to different units. It's you know, it makes sense, but doesn't make no sense when the units in question are already units which are very fast, 110, and have questionable values on those stats, like 12 charge for the bats. So you're telling me the Fell Bat's gonna do a couple of hundred extra damage, and you did a low attack, they're just gonna go poof. They're literally questionable stats. The whole package makes sense, but just giving these units more speed and more charge makes no sense. Well, the charge helps the bats, because the flying units always drop from the air. They apply this bonus, especially the units who will try to defend against them, like on the wall. But 12 charge, it's not 8 attack, which makes the units better overall. Just nuisance units, opportunity units, which have really no place on the battle skills unless they're part of a bigger battle skill which buffs a bigger variety of units. These are Direwolves, 95 speed ground unit. This is one of the fastest units in the game, 24 charge bonus. While the Direwolves are a little bit better than the bats overall, buffing them on the battle skills. I mean, this is early game battle skill, and just think about this for a second. You have a limited experience early game, and you need to get the basics done. You usually have to get Curse of Undead and the Unlimited Host. And in what reality are you going to take Call of the Night? There's a one exception, literally only one exception, really, if you don't get Unlimited Host. But who is not going to get Unlimited Host? There's only one lord in the game that's not going to get Unlimited Host and get Call of the Night instead, and that's Isabella. So they created a whole lore about the theme of this type of units, because these units get crazy buffed, and doesn't matter what part of the game, these units are going to be deadly. Applied right, they going to kill anything in the game, anything. The Isabella does provide them hunger, which gives them regeneration in melee, 5 armor piercing damage, provides them with additional leadership and attack. So this is one exception. when the Call of the Night is actually becomes a staple skill or a skill that you don't really ignore. The Unlimited Host on this lore can be completely ignored and just take Call of the Night. And this is literally the only exception in the game where this skill is preferred over the Unlimited Host. Because there's a limited skill points in the game, and how the characters are built, you just don't have room for multiple low tier skills. You're gonna have to pick. And this is again come back to that design of 6 battle skills instead of having streamlined 3 or 4, which will not only make things better for units that are not used that much, like the bats or the direwolves, to great effect, but also would help the AI choose better. So Isabella is the exception for the Call of the Night, and it's the only time you want to use this skill. If you're one of the Pepegas that you know, doesn't have good battlefield awareness and don't know how to apply the right pressure, buffs, debuffs, just stick to the Vargeists. Just stick to the Vargeist and ignore this skill and get the Unlimited Host. But if you know what you're doing, there is no reason to pick this skill in Isabella, and can just Call the Night, give those bats more speed and charge bonus. You do need to pick 2 battle skills always to unlock the veteran battle skills, which come later. So Call the Night, Isabella is the only lord you want to get this skill on. There is literally serves no other purpose in this game, this battle skill, than for Isabella von Karstein. I think this skill, Call the Night, should just be sacked, removed from the game, and put the Fellbats and Direwolves probably on the Creatures of the Night or the Unlimited Host. While the overall this skill should be reworked to provide attack and defense to these units and not speed and charge bonus. So literally a thing like this, when it serves only 1 lord in the game, have really little no purpose in the game. And you usually get battle skills, meaning that you're gonna have multiple of these units in the army, not just 1. Usually like at least 3. So there's a reason for you to get a skill to buff them. The next battle skill here is Evil Souls, and this battle skill is quite the total opposite of Call the Night, while still fits in the same category. Instead of buffing a lower tier unit, which little disappears from the game, you know, just when you unlock higher tier buildings, you know, look at this, they come late, too late. The Ken rates are tier 4 KQ, the Hex rates are tier 5 KQ, and the buff itself, what does it do? Evil Souls, melee attack plus 8 for Ken rates and Hex rates, magic resistance 50% for Ken rates and Hex rates. Okay, I want to talk about this one. 8 attack, we already established it's great. But for these units, it's actually even better than most other units, because the rates are armor piercing damage dealers. They literally do massive damage when they have enough attack. Their base attack values, let me show you, so you know, seeing sometimes is better than hearing. So this is Ken rates, 28 melee attack, tier 4 unit, no anti-infantry, no anti-large, just 28 melee attack. These are the Hex rates, 26 melee attack. 30 is considered to be low melee attack. 30 is a low melee attack. You still have 35% base chance to hit, but these units can get tired, like all the undead. So, which makes them lose, what, 35% melee attack? So, you see this, 26 and 28. Tier 4 and Tier 5 units, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. This skill gives them 8 attack. So what's special about the Wraiths? The Wraiths are supposed to rely on their high physical resistance. They got high armor piercing damage and some other stuff like they are fast, they got the magic attacks, low health, you know, and low armor due to high physical resistance. So they totally get destroyed by magic. So they've stored here What we give them to Wraiths? Let's give them some magic resistance on the basic battle skill, which is a bad idea if you ask me. So hear me out why giving them magic resistance is a bad idea. Because when you have 0 armor and you have lower health due to having massive physical resistance, no amount of magic resistance in the lower tiers will help you to survive. Literally, you can use a 1 magic explosion, even the AI does it a lot of times, and this unit just explode. Just poof. Sometimes, I've seen this myself, my own eyes. They get hit by magic, and the damage is so high, if they don't have like high leadership buffs and all the everything unlocked, the unit just disintegrate. It will not recover health, they just go poof. Even in the case of the AI, where you can specifically target this, surgically to destroy these units are very, very weak. The moment there's a magic in play, they're very, very weak. And no 15%, 20%, 25, 30% is gonna save them. The difference is gonna be if this unit disintegrates or just gets to the state of crumbling if it gets a direct hit by magic. Same shit if they get attacked by a charging attack with magic attackers or other attacks. This magic resistance will help a bit if they're facing single entities, like a Bretonnian Lord with magic attacks, a Grill Knight. But adding some magic resistance to these units to give them a little more toughness, from the dev's perspective, they definitely need this, but 15% is not good enough. They're still gonna go poof. It's still gonna get hard countered, and it will not play to their strengths. It will not play to their strengths. Their strengths being, a damage dealer that doesn't die, unless the enemy has magic. When you're dealing with this type of army, when you're having this type of army, you're always going to, your first priority is gonna be target the enemy magic dealer. Like if you see the cameras fight, we were a little careful about the enemy magic attackers like the Grill Knights. Grill Knights, bad. So we let them hit a different target like the Vampire or the Necromancer or the Zombies, if you can. But even if they make contact with the Hex Wraiths or the Chem Wraiths, those units will take massive damage. Literally, they'll lose over half health on contact. We can pull them out, disengage, you're just gonna deal with that magic attacker and destroy it. These units will delete Grill Knights almost as fast as Grill Knights will delete them. That's how high damage dealer this unit is. Having 50 magic resistance, like I said, it makes sense to, consider giving this unit some kind of defense against magic, but 15% is not good enough. They have a lower health, they got 0 armor, and they are relying on their physical resistance to survive. So any magic will destroy them. So mitigating 0 damage or 15% damage on very high difficulty makes very little difference. So this battle skill, if they want to keep the magic resistance, they should make it either 25%, heck, even up to 45%. Because 15% is way too little. So if they want to keep magic resistance to this skill, it should be like between 25, just 25 or more. 25 or more would make the difference. With 25 magic resistance, would just make them lightly armored unit against magic. They still die to it, but at least you'll have time to respond. Instead of just always make sure to keep an eye where the magic attackers are and counter them before they counter you. What's even better, if you ask me, they should play to this unit's strengths, and instead of giving them any magic resistance at all, just keep them to get deleted to the magic, because this is not a unit you're gonna put one off in the army. Hex Wraiths you could put one off, but the Chem Wraiths is not gonna be one off. That's maybe just in that other game that people play, the quick battles. But in an army, you're going to go with more of them because you invested that battle skill, and this is going to become your core unit. So they could just play to their strengths, grant them more physical resistance. The game does not offer them more physical resistance through technology, They should just offer them more physical resistance. This unit should have access to probably another 5 or 10 physical resistance. 5% probably should be from technology, and this could be here, more physical resistance. These units should be literally unkillable when supported with healing, only killed by magic. And buffing a unit that goes poof to magic to resist magic instead of playing to their strengths, I don't think that makes much sense. They just turn them into a unit which has a little bit of everything. And if there is a unit that has a little bit of everything, a prime example of this unit would be the Hex Rates. It's a cavalry, it's fast, it's ethereal, it's undead, has magic attacks, flaming attacks, armor-piercing damage. It has Fear, Terror, Vanguard, Strider. Literally, I'm not sure if it is any other unit in the game that has this many properties. And because it has this many properties, it makes it over a little bit weaker. But the Hex Rate units is in a good spot, unlike the Ken Rates. 4920 health, 5760 health. This difference in health in the current version of these units make all the difference, because also will determine how much they can get healed. This is units which do not work without healing. They do not work. So think about it like this. If you're going to put Ken Rates in the army or the Hex Rates, you're going to have to heal them. They do not work without healing. You're going to have to buff their attack, so you can actually get the use of their massive damage, because they will not kill fast enough without buffing their attack. So why would you use Ken Rates and the Hex Rates when the Graveguard will do job better without requiring any little effort to buff them with healing or the attack, while the Graveguard great weapons are just better by default? Armored, high health units, which are even better than the Ken Rates, are better when they are buffed by the attack and the healing. So this unit's literally is a terrible unit currently in the game, the Ken Rates. The Graveguard is just better. It's just better. And you can access it lower in the game, either via recruitment or Raise Dead. The Graveguard is on the same battle skill as the Ken Ray, as the skeletons, my bad. So you don't have to get a separate skill. You basically just transition from the skeletons or to Graveguard, or mix up some Graveguard with the skeletons. Everything is just perfect. Well, this unit is far from perfect, with questionable design and stats, and they're even put on tier 4, they used to be tier 3. The natural progression, the natural progression. So this skill, if they want to keep the magic resistance, they need to increase it. Like at least 25%. Heck, if I would do this battle skill personally, I would put it 45%. I would put it 45%, and it makes them tougher against magic. They'll still die to magic, but they'll be able to, fight it off with, support quicker, help quicker instead of going poof. And the only way this unit is gonna get die to magic if you're not paying attention to the battlefield or know how to counter this magic attackers, which is most of the time trivial because you're dealing with AI, right? But sometimes some armies will have lots and lots of magic attackers, and they might even have a wizard, Legend Lord Wizard, which will click spells. And in that situation, no 15 or 30% magic resistance will help you. Some of your units will go poof, just how it is. Most of the armies will cry against this army, but every now and then you're gonna encounter an army which will destroy a couple of your units. They will not win, but they'll destroy a couple of your units, even when they counter you. So having this magic resistance instead of having the basic stuff like defense, heck, more damage, or what would make sense, physical resistance. These units should have access to more physical resistance. When you're improving units, you want to make these units better. By granting these units magic resistance, you're not giving them better. You're getting into an idea where these units might actually face magic. You're still going to counter magic with these units have magic resistance or not before they counter you. So they're not playing to their strengths. They're adding more variety to a unit that's not supposed to have this. This is a highly imbalanced unit, and it should stay imbalanced. Low armor, no armor, lower health, and massive physical resistance. 75 is not good enough, but multiplayer exists, so it's right. But they should give you tools in the technology, battle skills, to increase this physical resistance by at least another 5 to 10%. 5% should be a no-brain either via technology, but more should come. And that battle skill could have more physical resistance. This unit should stay imbalanced. This is nothing balanced about this unit. So if you guys don't know, familiar about the Wraiths in the lore, if you don't have magic, you're dead. They literally just swing once at you or go through you. They destroy your very spirit, your soul. You're dead. If you don't have a magic weapon or magic, that's it. You're done. They are done. So it makes them the most horrifying things you can find in a Warhammer universe. Literally, they're one of the most horrifying things. The Wraiths. And giving them magic resistance where they're supposed to be an imbalanced unit, you know, it feels like they don't play too well with their role. They should just, you know, continue with their imbalanced status. Because, you know, if you want to play balanced units, versatile units, you use the Graveguard. Use the Knights. You do not create balance around units like Ken Wraiths and Hex Wraiths. They're opposite of balanced. They're imbalanced, and they should stay imbalanced. They should not try to do this unit more versatile. They should just keep it imbalanced, keep it unkillable to physical, and die to magic. So I think the magic resistance just doesn't fit in this thing here. Where would you use this battle skill? Well, due to these units being tier 4 and tier 5, which is currently horrible design, these units literally don't fit the campaign. The only time you're gonna use Kenraid and Hexraid with the Kemmler starting units. Kemmler has been reworked to fit their flavor, and you're probably just gonna have sometimes in Garrison or Hexraid Regiment of Renown. This is a battle skill, same as the Call of the Night. You're just gonna put this skill on Heinrich Kemmler. This is a skill that's not picked as your first skill, because you don't have access to more of these units. With Kemmler, you're still going to pick Unlimited Host, while this skill could be considered, because it might be a while before you get access to any of these units. Tier 4, Tier 5. Why Kemmler? This is a skill for Kemmler. This is another example like these skills, like why should be streamlined into categories and not literally be for different units. Kemmler has been worked. He gives the horrible regeneration to Kenraids and Hexraids, which makes you need to heal them less. They regenerate and they resurrect. Kenraids still have questionable health, but the Hexraids are great. Kemmler gives them anti-infantry 8. Keep in mind the skill only will work on them if they're rank 7 or higher. They can get experience pretty good because they do good damage. And they give them also another ability, White Blades, which lower the enemy damage when they hit them. So basically the enemy army will get debuffed by 25%. Have a lot of these units in the army will go and debuff them more. 8 anti-infantry works all time, so they make them deadly against infantry. This is what they need. They need access to free healing, resurrect, attack buff, weaken them enemies even further to lower damage. They made Heinrich Kemmler one of the best flavor lords in the game, if you ask me. Best. But this unit's in such a shape that you should not use these units anywhere else. Only Heinrich Kemmler. And if a skill only exists in the game to suit one lord, why is this skill in the game? So I suggest the Kenraids put it on the Unlimited Host for attack and defense, and I suggest Hex Raids be put on the Waking Dead with the other knights. So yeah, same thing as this. Isabella, Kemmler. Just put Isabella over this skill, Kemmler over this skill, and ignore it with everybody else. Let's move on the next skill. Creatures of the Night. Gives weapon strength plus 12% for Creep Horus, Vargas, Vargus, and Terrorgest units. Charge bonus plus 12 for Creep Horus, Vargas, Vargus, and Terrorgest units. Again, we get some you know, weird combination of stats here. It's not attack, It's not defense, it's not resistance, it's not armor. This time it's weapon strength charge bonus. So weapon strength plus weapon strength, that's great. Doesn't matter which unit gets buffed, but this most units can use more damage. More damage makes them win more and makes them get experience more, which makes them win even more, makes them stronger. Damage to creep horrors is good. Their base damage sucks, but you know, what can you do? It's the vampire counts. Varghest is your best unit. It's the best unit in the roster, especially since the buffs over time. Vargulf is not a great unit, but it's not a terrible unit either. It works. Buffs make it better. Terrorgeist, it's just slightly better than the Vargulf. Since it's flying, it's a lot better. Charge bonus for these units helps with the creep horrors and Vargheist, while this charge bonus for the Vargulfs and Terrorgeist makes no sense. There should not be things in the game that buff single entity charge values ever. So this is another one of your staple skills for the vampires, because it buffs their best unit, which is a Vargheist. Vargheists benefit from both the weapon strength and the charge bonus, while creep horrors benefit from both as well. They're not as good a unit. Creep horrors are actually one of the weaker units in the game. Vargulfs and Terrorgeists are great units, but they come later and are supposed to be stronger, bigger monster units. While they do not benefit from charge bonus that much, while they benefit from damage, especially Terrorgeist. It's hard to go around these skills, because it's one of those situations. I'm getting thirsty so much here. It's one of those situations where they assign stats that might be with the unit flavor, or with just different, they want to assign different stats. What would be if every battle skill said 8 attack, 8 defense, 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 8 attack, defense? We would be spamming Kekwi, but the game would be better. So you know what I'm saying? This is it's a problem. It's a problem. That's why I think this, again, going back to that 6 battle skills, buffing variety units specifically, just doesn't fit anymore. There should be a couple of these battle skills and buffing units in different ways even more. While every unit gonna need attack and defense, this is a melee faction. They really don't work with attack defense. The basic stuff is just, always better with attack defense. Sometimes they assign different stats to the units, which make sense. Sometimes they assign units to stats which don't make no sense, like Call of the Night. Do you want Iron Breaks or additional 8 defense? Well, this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes they assign stats that make sense, and sometimes they assign stats that make no sense. Like, this is an example here. Iron Breakers get assigned attack and damage, and it's great. That just makes sense. It's perfect. That is perfect. But they got lucky there. You think they did it because, it's random. It's random. Why would they assign charge bonus to a Terrorgeist and a Vargulf? This is a wrong assigned stat here. The skill should say same as Iron Breakers. 8 attack, 12 weapon strength. Charge bonus, 8. 12 charge bonus versus 8 attack. 8 attack all the time, 12 charge bonus only on charge. Which also increases attack and damage, while it's temporary. While 8 attack works all the time. So, what I'm saying, they need to adjust some of these stats that make more sense. Like this skill would be easy fix, just make the charge bonus 8 attack. Makes Creep Horse much better. Vargheist is gonna be overkill. The Vargulf, hell yeah, and the Terrorgeist gets a little bit more deadlier. So we have 12 charge bonus, which only fits Creep Horrors and the Vargheist. This shit doesn't fit. The weapon strength fits, but the charge bonus doesn't fit. So having 8 attack would fit way better. It is a skill which, like I said, it's a staple skill, but it's usually your second skill. You're not gonna open with this, you're always gonna open with this. This is a skill where you're usually your second choice. Purely because of Vargheist. Everything else is extra. You might add Creep Horrors to the army, you might add Vargulf, you might add Terrorgeist, but you might not add them at all. 8 attack, 12 charge. These numbers might mean something. But 8 attack is all time, 12 charge bonus is temporary. If you literally understand how this thing works, you would have seen how 12 charge doesn't do much. So I'll give you an example here. So let's pick it down on Vargulf. Vargulf has 50 charge, 50 attack. So if it doesn't do a knockback, it might even deliver a hit when it hits, if it charges. 90% max hit chance. Adds 50 more damage to 340 on the charge. So it's going to charge the enemy. Usually time just makes a hug, not even a charge. And yes, you're gonna do 12 more damage. 12% more chance to hit. You only have 100 melee attack in charge. 100. With 35 base hit chance, 135. So this means unless unit has over 45 defense, any other bonuses to this are wasted. This unit will still gain additional 5 attack from veteran battle skill, 9 attack from experience. What's 12 again? So charge ends, this unit has like 64 attack, these 2 discipline heroes, maybe 68, maybe you get 70. So 105. You want this unit to consistently hit more after the charge is done, or you want this unit to do 12 more damage when they make the charge, because 12 to attack does nothing. Understand this? Literally every single entity, the attack part of the charge is wasted. Wasted. The charge value for a single entity might do something, makes sense in a quick battle environment, but in a campaign makes no sense on a single entity. While when you have 16 entities, the 12 charge bonus means something. When you have 60, it means a lot more. The charge values are just not good as a buff. They're just not good as a buff. They might get that bonus for contact and 1 or 2 more attacks, but it's not just good as a permanent buffs. This charge bonus 12 should be 8 attacks, so it fits the creep horrors, the Vargulfs and Terrorghests a bit more. A single entity getting charge buffed, it's stupid. It's stupid, it makes no sense. Heck, even you look at it at the camera, 59, 48. 35 base. It's just doesn't really, it's not effective, and it should not be a start. It's a bad start. This skill is a staple skill for the vampires, one of their 3 best skills, just because of the Vargheists. For Terrorgheist, the Vargheists will get more damage, while the Creep Horrors are not a good enough unit. But you can use a little bit for flavor, but you're going to regret it. Moving on to the Waking Dead, which says armor plus 12 for Black Knights and Blood Knights, and 8 attack for Black Knights and Blood Knights. So we come again here to the Call of the Night. Half a skill grants more armor. Let's investigate how much armor these units have. Black Knights have 80 armored. The Black Knights, Lances and Barding have 110 armored. And the Blood Knights have 110 armored. So, you know, again, you know, half a battle skill makes no sense, while the other half is critical for these units to work. These units have all questionable attack values, except especially the Black Knights. So 8 attack is amazing. This is just what this unit need. You take this skill, those units will overperform, especially the Blood Knights. The Black Knights and the Blood Knights, the cavalry of the Vampire Counts is important to them, especially if you're not using destructive magic. Somebody has to do some damage over on the enemy. While the armor, you know, it helps, but it doesn't fit. They're literally not playing to the... they're buffing things with these units, all they have plenty. This is brings us back to Call of the Night. This 12 armor should most likely be charge or melee defense. The cavalry needs more charge. Some of these units don't even have a good charge. So let's see their charge values. Black Knights, your first one, 26 charge value. They're infantry in the game, they can have more charge in this game. While the Lancers, which are, you know, shock cavalry, have very good charge. and the Blood Knights have a very good charge. Well, the 12 charge is good for the Black Knights, for the Lancers, and the Lancer General doesn't really do that much. But buffing Cavalry charge makes more sense than buffing this heavy cavalry more armor. More armor will make them tougher, but they're already tough. They all have speed to stay out of harm's way. They're fast, and they're armored. Well, this is not, but this is by far from, the worst thing you can have here instead of 12 armor. It's still not even ideal what they should have. Well, this type of skill is fine. More toughness, more attack for the knights. This is the third best skill the vampires have. Because it's skeletons, graveyard, it's Vargeists, Terrorgeists, and it's the Black Knights and Blood Knights. These are the units that benefit the most from the buffs. Since the Black Knights are great from the start, and the Blood Knights is your second best unit in the faction, and it's a unit that will just clear most of the large threats, which comes much later in the game as a tier 5 unit. I think the armor, would fit more with the charge. Well, the charge bonus will not be as great. 8 attack. The Dark Elf Cavalry has 8 attack, 8 defense, I think. This should probably be 8 attack, 8 defense. Or this skill should just be removed from the game, and all the knights put on this skill here. We are already come to the point where there's only 2 bell skills on the Vampire Scouts now, with just a few changes. This all can be like 2, 3, or 4 skills, not 6. Adding a variety of units here with all the units, and then just assigning random stats in some styles that make them better. I don't think it works anymore. Especially because they randomize this shit. Sometimes units get buffed with the buffs that make no sense, and then you just have a dead bell skill that nobody's using. So you got Call of the Night that's only used by Isabella, you got Evil Souls that's only used by Kambler. So, moving on. Coming to a skill which we're not gonna say a lot. Speed plus 12%, melee defense plus 8. For Black Coach, questionable unit to even exist in this game. Corpse Guard, unit that literally has no purpose on the battlefield other than buff stuff. And Mortis Engine. While the speed helps the Corpse Guard, defense helps the Black Coach, and the Mortis Engine, this skill literally has no purpose to even be here. This is a fucking meme, a kekwi, garbage, trash, a bad joke to even exist in here. So just forget about this skill even existing. Isabella, Kambler. So what you have here: Unlimited Host, Creature to the Night, and the Waking Dead. Only one skill that's great, perfect, ideal. One that has questionable second buff, and another that has a questionable second buff. And this is what you get from the Vampire Counts from some melee faction. Regarding the units of the Black Coach could be assigned to the Waking Dead. The Mortis Engine can be assigned to Evil Souls. And the Corpse Guard can be assigned to the Unlimited Host as well. Unlimited Host, so you get to put a Black Coach to Waking Dead, Mortis Engine to Evil Souls, and the Corpse Guard to Unlimited Host. Literally, just remove this from the game and assign these units to different skills. If we were talking from the start, where they would just streamline these skills, where there's only like a couple of them buffing a variety of units, literally cross, and cross. Put this on the 8 attack, put the armor into charge defense, put the Black Coach on the Waking Dead, put the Corpse Guard on the Living Host, and put the Mortis Engine probably on the Unlimited Host as well, since this one got crossed, right? But literally, you can just remove this skill without adjusting any of the other skills. Put the Black Coach, Waking Dead, put the Corpse Guard on the Living Host, put a Mortis Engine on Evil Souls. Cross this, put the Fellbats and Direwolves in the Creature of the Night. Cross, and you keep the basic stuff. Literally down to 4 battle skills. 4 battle skills. While the Mortis Engine does benefit from some of these buffs, the Corpse Guard will only be used on Necromancer. The Corpse Guard cannot be buffed on a Necromancer battle skill. While the Black Coach is a battle design unit, which we'll talk once we have finished the battle skills. So you got Unlimited Host, you got Creature of the Night, and you got the Waking Dead. Literally the other three, Trash, Gambler, Isabella. You could assign these units to other skills and they make perfect sense, and they'll not only benefit the faction better to promote variety, but also will help the AI do better as well, instead of picking random skills. Gambler picked the Waking Dead, well, he never had a night unit in his army the whole game. Evil Souls will speak later, and he literally specialized with Evil Souls. Moving on to the rest of the battle skills. Magical Animus, 16 leadership in a circle, just a rally, called pasta. Legions of the Dead, this is a veteran battle skills. They only work when the units are rank 7 or higher. So this is weapon strength, melee attack, and magic resistance for zombies, skeletons, graveyard, and can raids. Oh, this is interesting. Now we are down to 4 skills. Not 6, not 5, but 4 skills. Yet we have 6 skills in this area. You don't say. Why does this area have 6 skills and this area has 4 skills? Flavor or gameplay things, or the lore would make sense. Very interesting. And Legions of the Dead, it's a buff for zombies, skeletons, graveyard, and can raids. Something that is named Legions of the Dead could literally fit anything in the army. The name, the flavor text, the lore, the gameplay reasoning, all the mumbo jumbo, defending of the shit, could be easily explained. So you get more weapon strength, more attack, and more magic resistance for these units. While the weapon strength and melee attack is great for the skeletons and graveyard and the can raids, the magic resistance have little to no purpose here. Some factions have 15 physical resistance instead, which is amazing. But it is what it is. Your skeletons, graveyard, can raids have access to more weapon strength, melee attack, and magic resistance. It is what it is. Attack and weapon strength is great, magic resistance is situational, and you might fight magic attackers, you might not fight magic attackers at all. It's questionable value. I put 15 magic resistance when some faction gets 15 physical resistance. It's just randomly assigned by amateurs. It's like, you guys remember the dwarf first skill? 15 magic resistance on a faction has 25 magic resistance on the units which only work a little in early game, like the dwarf warriors, the miners, and longbeards. It's fucking random. Don't try to put some logic to it, how this shit gets assigned. It's assigned by someone who doesn't play the game, who doesn't understand how these units work. It doesn't even know M for meta. So yeah, it's fucking random. While 15 magic resistance does put the can raids to 30 magic resistance, which is almost acceptable, it doesn't really do much for the graveyard and the skeleton, so it's questionable. Other factions have the juicy 15 physical resistance. Well, you gotta have magic resistance here, which is situational. The unit has magic attacks, it will lower their damage with magic resistance. It's a good skill for the skeletons and the graveyard, but far from the ideal and best skills that some other factions have in the same area, literally. This magic resistance, to make it, let's just go with a streamlined version instead of just, wishful thinking. The Dread Knights have 8% ward save. Ward save is all damage reduction. So just put this magic resistance 8% ward save. It's against physical, it's against magic, works for everybody. It's a skill you're always going to pick because skeletons, graveyard, and if you play Gambler, can raids. Dread Knights, I'll remind you guys that Hex raids are not knights. I'll remind you they're not on the knight's skill. And I remind you they're on a separate skill of questionable value to anybody but Cameron. And I remind you there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 skills here, and there are 4 skills here. Dread Knights, ward save 8% for Black Coach, Black Knights, Blood Knights, Corpse Guard, Hex Raids, and Mortis Engine. Rank 7 or above. 8% ward save, literally for any unit, is amazing. For a unit like Hex Raids, which have 75 physical resistance, is amazing. It's just what they need to keep them imbalanced. what they are, an imbalanced unit. They should never be balanced. They should get destroyed by the magic, and if nobody has magic, they should just never die. And this is pretty much the unit. Otherwise, why the fuck use them? Just use the knights. Oh shit, use the blood knights, black knights, because this is, they're dread knights apparently. So weapon strength plus 12% as well for these units, and charge bonus plus 12 for these units. This skill is fucking amazing. All the knights and the hex rates get ward save, weapon strength, charge bonus. Heck, even the Mortis engine get 8% ward save. Mortis engine can do a little bit damage, so getting some weapon strength helps. Well, charge bonus is kind of laughable. Mortis engine does have some damage, while the corpse card is unable to do any damage. So this skill is great for the knights and hex rates. Literally, ideal. Got the deadly power here, which look at this: physical resistance, attack, weapon strength, melee attack, magic resistance. Why they make a third skill here and call deadly power? Why is not this Legions of Dead? Why is this physical resistance not here? Why is there magic resistance here? Why are these units assigned magic resistance? Why are these units assigned physical resistance? Why are these not units in the same group granting 8% ward save? It's a fucking roulette machine. The slot machine, little guys. How the shit is assigned, and it's just a copy pasta from other faction, and they just assign units without any logic or sense to it. 12 weapon strength, 5 attack, 15 physical resistance. These are just absolute perfection stats for melee units in the game. Creep ghouls, creep horrors, bunch of poop, direwolves, even more poop. You're gonna see rank 7 direwolves. By the time you get rank 7 direwolves, you already have knights running around, and a vargulf. While the creep ghouls and direwolves are dog shit units, which will never really see rank 7 or literally do anything at this stage in the game. While the direwolves can be put to a use, the knights just make them obsolete. The vargulfs and creep horrors can be used. Creep horrors actually become an average unit with this skill. So if you want to have creep horrors an average unit, you just need to get them to rank 7 and get them this skill. Creep horrors, by the way, can go poof if they get hit by 3 different units at the same time. Keep that in mind. So yeah, they might not reach this stage. So if the creep horrors reach this stage, this basically stats that you see: physical resistance, melee attack, weapon strength. This is what would make creep horror current salary unit into an average unit. And then they should have another battle skill that buffs them like this again to make them an above average unit. So this is dog shit. The creep ghouls, just a trash unit, no toughness, no health, no damage. Literally just read multiplayer unit. The creep horrors are shit, outdated, while direwolves, can be used very well. They literally have no place, in the army on rank 7+. While the vargulf, this is the only reason to have this, take this skill. So sometimes you'll take the creatures of the night, and you will try to get some kind of flavor army when you use creatures of the night, vargulfs, creep horrors, and instead of just having Vargas, you'll have Vargus, creeps, horrors, vargulfs, and then you're gonna pick deadly power. If these units reach rank 7, the creep horrors will become average. You have magic to support them. They have regeneration. They might even live unless they're fighting counter units. While the vargulfs becomes good with this. It actually becomes good. So deadly power literally in the big picture is just for vargulf. Just for the vargulf. Vargulf not only gets tougher, but actually gonna have very high attack, and they actually gonna do some damage. The Vargulf got a little bit weaker when they fixed the stagger and the knockbacks on the infantry, which means it's gonna take a little bit more damage, especially against some targets. Used to be able to bully a character, now they're gonna resist the stagger a bit more from this unit. So it did get a little bit weaker, but it's still a decent unit. The Flying Horrors, missile resistance for the bats, terrorgeist and vargas units, melee attack and charge bonus. So again, we get another charge bonus for Terrorgeist. So the Terrorgeist is turning into a Flying Knight with 2 different buffs granting charge bonus. A single anti-monster suffers from this shit. Instead of getting something great like physical resistance or the ward save, it gets a 2nd charge bonus buff. While all missile resistance is amazing for these units, especially for the Felbats and the Vargheists. The attack is amazing for the Felbats and the Vargheists. Terrorgeists only gonna have enough. They usually target large stuff. The charge bonus is amazing for the Felbats and the Vargheists, while it's shit for the Terrorgeist. So the battle skills overall, what you have seen here, there's some things a little bit off, some things don't even fit, and how the things can be removed without really any difference. Not great, not terrible battle skills, and it's just, I would say, just acceptable. Just acceptable. The saving grace is the Unlimited Host and the Dread Knights, literally. The Unlimited Host and Dread Knights on the buffers, while everything else is like so-so. So-so. Because some of these units are outdated. You usually go Unlimited Host as your opener. Then you pick either Creatures of the Night or the Waking Dead. The Waking Dead is for the Black Knights and Blood Knights. So you basically have a tier 2 and tier 5 unit. While the Creatures of the Night, it's for the Varghest, literally just Varghest, the other units don't matter here, which is your tier 3 unit. It's your best unit. Or you can just take all 3. If you take all 3, and you want to use Vargul's, you take all the Veteran Battle skills. If you don't use Vargul's, you pretty much just take the three of them. If you just go for the Flyer army like Isabella, you just get the Flying Horrors. If you just go for the Infantry and the Knights, you just get Legion of the Dead and the Dread Knights. You don't really need to buff the other units that much. Sometimes a large body is what it is, a large body. Terrorgeist landing into a crown, pinning 3, 4, 5 units. Same can be done by a Vampire with a high resilience. Then a host of either Knights or the Flyers just swoop in. But Terrorgeist, you know, will tank better than a Vampire because it's large and it has poison, it is regeneration. The Vampire has to get there on a high rank and a crazy gear. So the way you literally build this army, you can say like question like, you know, this is you play this game how you play Mr. Streamer, but I'm telling you guys, they could remove half of these things and it would have not really done any difference, because the most people how they play this faction is they use destructive magic, which means they don't really rely on the units doing the job. They don't really buff these units, they don't really debuff the enemy. They just most of the time just cast Wind of Death and call it a day. The rest of the army will die to anything, and it doesn't matter how you buff these units. It's probably why we are here where we are now. You know, cross, cross, cross. Got 3 here. Merge these 2 and merge these 2. You got 2 here. Literally, you can remove half of this, and it's still people will just cast Wind of Death. 6 skills here, 4 here. I think factions having 6 here is kind of outdated. Hopefully they change it in Warhammer 3. They can literally just cross the skills for most factions, just merge the other ones. Because they're randomly rolling stats. Sometimes they think what the units need, sometimes they go with the flavor of the units, sometimes go with the gameplay. And who the hell decides if this unit is going to attack, defense, armor, magic resistance, charge bonus, damage? Sometimes it feels like just randomly rolled. And then you have like bizarre situations where super fast units get more speed. Who is this person who decides this shit? They didn't even play the game. Why would they put 12% more speed for the Felbats and Darwolves? They're only some of the fastest units in the game. So the fact they are randomly rolling the dice on deciding these buffs, you know, you could, you know, go some logic here. Or, you know, your perspective regarding magic resistance on the physical resistance units. You know, this could be way more streamlined and in a good way. In a good way. They could remove half of this stuff, switch these units around, and make the boss have more sense. Like, you know, 8 attack here and 12% weapon strength, so all units benefit from it. Instead of 12 charge bonus here, could be physical resistance. Half of these things can be merged, half of things can be removed, and not only you get a better system, but the AI will have less options to pick, meaning better by default. When you confederate a lord, just, you know, hear me out. When you confederate a lord, let's say confederate Honey Kemmler, and you see a Heinrich Kemmler with Waking Dead, which buffs knights, and poor guy in 70 plus turns of the campaign never had a knight in his army. Meanwhile has rank 7 cannon rates and rank 7 hex rates, but no evil souls. When you confederate the Red Duke, and he has evil souls, but no Waking Dead. Vampire Knight in Bretonia has evil souls, no Waking Dead. At least he picked the Unlimited Host, which should be the first pick for all the lords, with the exception of Isabella. This is how important this skill is. So yeah. There is meta here, there is min-maxing, but there's also shit that makes sense and then makes things playable. And it will just bring us back to the, you know, very hard battle difficulty, and if units can actually, you know, work and win. Well, not sure if you guys been watching this campaign. I mean, you know, I'm not a guy to make a guide to show you in 5 minutes that the Graveguard can kill 3 Longbeards. You know, you're gonna go through 50 hours of this footage. But you can see Vlad battles and debuffs. The amount of debuffs you can provide makes this unit absolute grinder. Chosen great weapons. Chosen great weapons? What healing? What healing? What magic? Chaos is magic, they have dog shit magic. Some destructive option, limited pool, they can't even heal their troops. The Graveguard great weapons with the buffs and the debuffs and the healing make the chosen great weapons dog shit. This unit can have 17,000 health. Which other greatsword in the game can have 17,000 health? While applying 3 to 4 debuffs to the enemy and multiple buffs to itself with literally next to no limits. This is 200 magic. This is just, you know, the amount we are not even pushing to the max. Just get that number to 400 and then you just cast everything. Can the Chaos get this? You know, remember guys, melee doesn't work. Use Wind of Death and go easy, burr to the enemy infantry. It's not like there's a million ways to kill infantry. The Vampire counts, you know, they suck. They can't kill shit in melee. Okay, enough with this jibber-jabber. We went through the battle skills of the Vampire counts. We'll do more of this as I feel like it. You know, we usually just go over the factions, you know, that are a little bit behind. And Vampire counts, you know, not only they're missing a rework, the units are on behind by quite a bit unless you put all the effort here. This campaign is a campaign where we have not used Wind of Death. It's turn 1 of 5. We got 97 settlements. We got 11 armies. Yeah. I'm going to, you know, take a little short break and then decide what we're gonna do next. I might just play more Vampires, might go back to Fallout 4, might play some Gladius. Yeah. I'll see you guys next time on Total War Archer Hammer.